What's up, all my producers out there? So here's another episode of the free VST plugin detective, where essentially I review and test out all the free plugins that are out there, whether it's a synthesizer or a unique effect or something that modulates a certain parameter or whatever the case is. Basically testing out all the free plugins out there because there's a lot of them and a lot of them can be really good. And in this case, I wanted to do basically one of, if not possibly my favorite free plugin, actually one of my favorite plugins in general, and it's free, so hey, can't beat that. And that's the Voxengo MSED. So I'm going to pull it up right here, and it looks like this. Now, essentially what the MSED does is just the mid or the side on basically any element in your track. So I'm going to basically preview this. This is actually off of my track Tardigrade, which I've not released yet, so an unreleased track. And this is one basically vocal element that I'm using, so it sounds like this. Sounds like that, right? Now, as you can see here, you see a low spectrum in terms of the mid side. And I guess I'll show you a mini preview of the track in case you're curious, I haven't released this one yet. It's going to be like a heavy bass track, but so that's kind of what's kind of going on with it. It's going to be like a heavy bass one. So just giving you a little mini preview, I guess, to give you some context. But what I'd like to do, obviously, is show you how it affects basically one certain element. So I'm going to use this vocal atmospheric effect here, like so. Now, in case you don't know, if you picture mid-side, the best way to think of it is honestly think of your speaker as a square, like here. And obviously, some things you sometimes want on the sides. So even if you're using headphones, you can hear it being pushed. And then for the mid, obviously, is like kind of the middle of the speaker. So think of it like as you can see here. Now, the good thing about the MSED is it's incredible for both adjusting the mid-side gain and making it very specific, but also for just completely muting it if you want to. So here's a good example. This is a lot easier, I think, to grasp when I show you it live, basically. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn up the side gain. So what you're going to do is you're going to hear on speakers the side basically being turned up. So it sounds like this. So now I hear a lot on the sides, right? The kind of the side of the speakers as being turned off. Now the mid gain, obviously I can turn it up or turn it down. In this case, I'm going to turn it down. Obviously, it's like the middle portion of the speaker of the sound, kind of. And I try to word that vague as I can, because for a lot of these videos, I try to make them not only for advanced people, or maybe looking at these to try to see, oh, is the Voxengo MSED a really good, plugin, but obviously for beginners as well. So I'm trying to word this a little bit vague, just to show you, but look at like the spectrum, basically, in terms of removing the middle. So now you notice, you're almost only going to hear it on the sides, right? So like so. Right, only on the sides. Now this can be very useful in case, especially for me when I'm using any atmospheric effect like this one, what I like to do sometimes is completely remove sometimes all of the middle, or at least a little bit, so it kind of is on the sides of the track. It gives a lot of wideness to the track and adds that kind of atmospheric effect, while like the hard-hitting like synths, percussive elements, kick, bass, snare, etc., are kind of square in the center of the track. So if I wanted to do that, I could mute the mid completely like so. Right, just on the sides, as opposed to turning it all the way down. Now, the cool thing about this plugin that's really, really useful as well is actually for mixing and mastering. Specifically for mastering. Now, it's very typical, for example, if you're, like, say, mastering the track, and obviously I'm still working on this one, but on my master chain a lot of times, I'll have, like, say, an EQ. I'll do mid-side EQing on my master chain, and what I'll do is I'll have a side low-cut EQ. Because essentially, for your bass, your low end, you don't really want it to be on the side of your track. So what I'll do is I'll just do this kind of real quick. I'll use an EQ8 to show you as an example. So what I'll do is I'll go to mid-side. I'll do a low cut, but in this case I want to be on the sides, and then do that way, and then boom. So I'll do something like that, right? So now the bass isn't being on the sides, and just improves your mix and your master of your track overall. But another thing that's really, really good for the Voxengo MSED is in terms of busting. So I'm going to do this real quick. So what you can do is, I'm just going to do this as an example. This is maybe not the best example here, but so what you can do is you do busting and return tracks. What you can do is, for example, put the MSED on 1. And let's say this is already routed and everything. What you can do is go to 1 and call this, like say for example, call this mid and call this one side. Right? So now when I go to the mid, I'm going to mute the side. So this one's only playing out the middle portion of the track. Then what I do is I go to side, and obviously I mute the mid of the track. So now essentially what's happening is, and this is what I would do if I was actually mixing and mastering my track, I would send these 4 returns, or actually these 3 right here. What is this one? Is this just a random one? Yeah, I know what that is. I think that's my bass or whatever. Anyway, so I'd send these 4 returns, synths, kick, snare, percussion, effects, and then my bass. I send them to these 2. So I'd send them all to both channels at the same time. Then these 2 I'd send to a pre-master. Obviously, like I said, I haven't done that yet just because I'm still working on this track. But now what I'm able to do now is adjust the mid and the side using this plugin pretty effectively. And the big thing is usually the mid, I'll leave alone, but on the side, what I might do is I might add a compressor because obviously sometimes on the side to kind of clean it up, I might just compress it a little bit. So if I'm like, soloing this, I have to route them. But, I'll just do this real quick for the sake of the video. Let's see, I'm going to enable send, bam, enable send, bam. Then I'm going to do send only. So now essentially what I'm doing is all these channels are only sending to the mid and the side one. And then now what I have to do is basically enable send on all these. So I'll just do this real quick for, demonstrative sake. And this is actually a really good thing to do for your track too. I think if you haven't looked into like routing yet and busing and all that kind of stuff, you definitely should. It's really helpful for your track. So now essentially what's going to be happening is now all these stuff in my track are even set to 4 channels. Synths, kick, snare, percussion effects, and I might as well call this bass actually. So now I have these 4, right? Now these 4 are being sent now to these 2, which is now being sent to the master, okay? So when I play this, it's going to sound the exact same. Nothing's going to sound any different. Right? And you can see here, now as you can see here, I have it being purple. Purple basically means that the volume is going, but it's being sent to a return track. So as you can see, the really only 2 ones that have the green volume it's being output from is mid and side. And then lastly off to the master because they're being sent to the master. So what's really, really useful with the Voxengo MSED is that now let's say I'm like, you know what, I want to work on my side. So what I can do is I'm going to mute the mid. Now it's going to sound very different. You're only going to hear it on the sides of your speakers. So let's do this again. Right? Now as opposed to, like, say if I added the mid back in, now it's going to mute the side. Now you're only hearing it on the middle. So this is really useful to be able to basically hear only the middle and only the sides. And some of the best producers out there do a lot of mid and side work, basically, for lack of a better phrase. Do a lot of mid and side work so that their tracks sound either more wide or just better, or, whatever the case is. It makes your mixing and mastering a lot more tight, a lot more professional. And obviously, like I said, for the Voxengo MSED, you can't beat this, especially it being a free plugin. So what I'll do is, I'll do something like go on the side, right? So sound like this, right? Maybe do, am I on the side here? Ah, shoot. Let's say it wasn't doing anything. I'll go back to here. Put the wrong compressor. So, right. So now, what I'll do essentially is I'll basically compress, and obviously you don't have to do this like a lot, but basically what I'll do now is I'll essentially compress now the sides of basically the track. And essentially what that allows it to do is, because if you have too much stuff going on the sides, it kind of just muffles up your mix a little bit. And so by basically doing mid-side routing, essentially where all the channels are being sent to mid and to side, individually, I'm then able to individualize the mid and the side and do stuff with them, stuff being compressing. If I really want to as well, I can even add a EQ on this. I usually do this on my master chain, but you can do this here as well. And just add this here if I wanted to, just to make sure I don't have any of the low end coming out on the sides. And I can kind of do it like that. And obviously, like I said, usually for me, when it comes to mid-side, my chains on my mid and side, they're usually pretty simple. Usually, I don't really do too much with the mid. I just kind of leave it. It's more on the side. I usually like to split them up because I usually want to just compress the sides a little bit, just so they're not too powerful, too, out there. And again, I just lightly compress them and kind of mess with them. And obviously, a lot of this I do as I'm mastering and mixing near the end of my production. But obviously, you can't really go wrong with the Voxengo MSED. It's one of the best free plugins out there. It's actually, when I started this series, the free VST plugin detective, it was actually the first one that I thought. It was the first one that I was like, you know what? If I'm going to start this series, the first one I want to do is the Voxengo MSED, because it's honestly one of my favorite plugins, and it's free. So It's a win-win, right? You can't beat that at all. So I hope this video was helpful. Obviously, for all of these plugin reviews and testing that I do, obviously I like to show you how I use them. You know, give you maybe a little bit of a tutorial, like just enough so you can kind of see how they work. And then lastly, give my rating. So my rating obviously is 5 out of 5. Oh, ooh, virus definitions updated. Sweet. Well, that was a really loud noise. But anyway, so my rating obviously for all my plugins that I review, I basically like to rate them. And for the Voxengo MSED, basically I give a 5 out of 5 rating for this one. Honestly, you can't beat it. It's a free plugin. Obviously, I have a link listed below to it in the description. So definitely check it out. And you really cannot go wrong with it. Doing mid-side stuff, and I hate to use the word stuff, I think it's a horrible word in terms of being specific, but it's a bit broad. But I guess doing mid-side, using mid-side in your productions, it's a better way to word that. Using mid-side in your productions is a great way to make them sound a lot tighter. It makes your mix and mastering a lot better, and overall, it gives your tracks a way more unique ambiance, especially in terms of increasing and really working on the wideness of your track. And if you listen to any really good track, having really good wideness to it and making sure that it's well produced is a huge, huge thing. So I really hope this video is helpful. Hope you guys, like this video. And like I say, based on all these videos, one, obviously I have the playlist listed below of all the different reviews I've done of all these different free plugins, whether it's a synthesizer or an element like this, or whatever the case is. And secondly, if you do have a free VST that you're like, hey Mark, do you mind reviewing this one? Like I've been thinking about using it or thinking about downloading it or whatever, definitely post it in the description, or excuse me, in the description, but in the comment section. A lot of these videos, obviously, I do for you guys, and I like to basically review the full spectrum. I like to review plugins that I think are really good, or just plugins I haven't tried out yet that might be bad. Who knows? So it's kind of what happens. Obviously, I just basically review whatever I think may be an interesting plugin. If it's awesome, great. If not, well, I'll give you my honest opinion. So basically, hope you like this video, and obviously, like I said, 5 out of 5 rating. Can't beat this one. Easy one of, if not, actually I will say it's my favorite free plugin, period. So you cannot beat the Voxengo MSED. Obviously free download, but it's free. So definitely check it out below in the description. And like I said, if you do have any plugins that you'd like me to review or do a review of, definitely post those in the comment section below.